Now, before we get started, I would really love it if you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get the latest content from the YouTube channel, The Last Rewind. And don't be shy about leaving your comments at the bottom of the page because you are the sole reason why this channel will be successful. Thank you. Right, one of the top stories, Cam Newton. Of course, we know him from his heyday with the Carolina Panthers, former quarterback, all six, let's see, what we got, 6'5", 34 years old as of now, 245 pounds of him, was attacked at a 7-on-7 football game in Atlanta, Georgia last Sunday. This was, let's see, Imperial Sports Media Company, Weeball Sports. They're the ones who organized it. And it was supposed to bring youth under 15 and under 18 teams in Georgia and Alabama together for a competitive tournament. Newton is the founder of C1N, a program that participated. Let's see, it was a wide receiver with top shelf performance, a wide receiver training facility in Atlanta that had youth teams in the event approached Newton at the top of a set of steps underneath a Weeball Sports tent Sunday afternoon. Newton was grabbed and a fight ensued. Two men shown fighting with Newton were both coaches, because some people thought it was some of the youth players, but they were actually coaches for top shelf performance, formerly coached with the quarterback, according to a source with knowledge of elite 7-on-7 football. Let's take a look at that video right quick. They probably should have been playing 7-on-7 because he was taking all of them on at one time. It probably shows you that maybe Cam still got it. Cam is only 34 years old. You think about that, Tom Brady was well into his 40s and still playing. And Cam has been in the news saying there's not that many quarterbacks that are still better than him. He could still play the game at a high level. I don't know if he can or not, but I do think he could have a position somewhere in the NFL. But unfortunately, I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's being blackballed because of his positions on certain topics or because how he dresses. He's very outlandish with how he dresses and how he speaks on certain things. We know Kaepernick was out with certain subjects that were not pertinent to the popularity of the NFL. And so he was blackballed based off of that. We can argue about that all day, whether you agree with what he did or not. But the Shield or the NFL did not agree with keeping him on board. And there was other quarterbacks that he was better than. He may not have been the best. Maybe he was in the middle of the pack, but there's somebody he could have been better than. But a lot of times with NFL teams, it's not even really how good you are. It's how you represent the team and how you represent the NFL. And I don't think anybody wants Cam Newton representing them anymore as a quarterback. Because a quarterback is the top position of any NFL team. It didn't always used to be like this, but it is now. In today's sports, in today's world, in today's league, the quarterback is the primary position that gets paid the most, gets the most media attention. Even if you have an outstanding defensive player or outstanding running back, usually you win and lose with the quarterback. And Cam Newton has not been prime NFL Cam Newton since 2015. I think they went to the Super Bowl. He had his NFL MVP year. The thing that we have to also remember, your talent pays for your sins. And what I mean by that is, if you have enough talent, they'll sweep your sins under the rug. Dennis Rodman. You remember Dennis Rodman? I know I'm going in a whole different sport, but that's the one that pops in my head. Dennis Rodman was an outstanding defender, a great defensive player. And teams just kept putting up with him. You know, Detroit put up with him because he brought a lot to the team. The Bulls put up with him because he could do a lot for the team. Once his numbers started to drop down pretty bad as he got older, nobody wanted to put up with him. He was a journeyman after that. He went from like the Lakers, and I think the Mavericks might have been the last team he was with because his numbers didn't show. And it's the same thing with Cam Newton, I think. That's what I believe. I believe if Kaepernick was a Pro Bowler, if he was one of the best 3 quarterbacks in the league, he still would have been in the league. We just say, well, it's because of politics. And sure, that has something to do with it. But what's this guy? Deshaun Watson? Really? Deshaun Watson was able to find a team. With all the allegation he has, he found a team because he was talented enough for general managers and NFL owners to forgive his sins. Cam Newton, I don't think is there anymore. The balance is not there where his talent was here. The sins could be swept under. I think the talent's kind of in the mid-level somewhere now. And no longer will people forgive. And I don't even know I don't know what Cam Newton did. If he did anything to not get on a team. He wasn't the greatest quarterback, even in his heyday. He was a great runner for a quarterback, and he wasn't the most accurate, but his talent was good enough. I mean, he got an MVP. I can't even shy against that, but his talent was good enough to keep him on teams, to keep him on the Panthers. But as soon as he started getting injured and started getting hurt, then all of a sudden, it's what he did. And, when he went home was how he dressed at the press conferences, is when he got in trouble. And, he's not a troublemaker as far as I've seen, but he's been making the news a lot for some controversial things, and which may not even be his fault. Like, I don't know, it was last year or a couple of years ago, he had a camp and the kids there were just disrespecting him. Saying he was, a failure. He won't great anymore. He's just talking down to him. And he went there at the kindness of his heart to help teach the youth how to be a professional NFL player. He didn't have to do that. He did that out of the kindness of his heart. But he made the news for it. Now, I bring it up because these type of things don't happen to any other quarterback outside of our community. You don't see that happening to the Drew Breeses or the Peyton Mannings. I don't know if Tom Brady has done anything like that, but you just don't see that happen outside the Black community like that. You only see that happening with us because we don't seem to have a respect for people, just adults. You only see respect the athlete or the entertainer who is popular at the present moment. When he's on his downside, then you're a loser all of a sudden. I mean, but then what does that make you? If you're trying to make it to his league and you haven't made it yet, wouldn't that make you a loser too? But I hope one day Cam Newton can get back in the NFL. I don't think it's going to happen now. It's been too many years. There's that time span where you're just gone from the NFL. I think longer than a couple years, you're not going to get back in. That's why I get tired of hearing people saying, every year is a cap sighting where people want to say, oh, well, they need a quarterback and a backup quarterback. Maybe they should sign Cap. It's gone. It's over. Kaepernick's not getting back. That dream is done for. He has about as much chance of coming back as Michael Jordan has a chance to come back and win another championship. He's just too old now. Too old, and I don't mean like old as in he's 50 years old and he's past his prime, but you can't just come back to football and take those hits again, because you're going to get injured as soon as you come back. There's a level of callousness you have to build up over time to be able to take those hits. You hear people like Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp talks about he couldn't even come back today. He's in prime shape, but he couldn't take those hits. That's what makes a lot of people at the end of their career retire, because those hits start to pile up over time. Injuries start to happen easier and easier. That's why Tom Brady, I think, retired. It's like he didn't have the love to take those hits anymore. Even with Kobe Bryant loved the game. He gave everything he could to the game, but those hits, not football hits, of course, but basketball injuries, those hits falling to the floor, he couldn't take them anymore. Getting up in the morning and feeling sore and achy, the love for the game wasn't strong enough to continue his career. And Kaepernick, I think he should just find something else to do. Cam Newton, he has found something else to do. He has a very successful podcast, and I think he's going to be able to build upon that. And he probably has other business ventures that he'll probably be able to build upon. So, good luck on that. I just think the NFL career is over. But that's not to say that this is his fault. I heard people say he was talking trash to them during the football game. I don't know how deep the trash talking was, but he seems to be on the wrong side of this in the news too many times for a team to take him back with his talent level. It's not about if he's talented enough to get on a team. He's talented enough, but NFL teams, which is a business, they're not going to take him back based on the sins he commit outside of football and inside of football, if he ever did any, based on his talent level. If his talent level was super Cam Newton, like it was, like I said, 8 years ago, yeah, he'd be on the team immediately. Nobody would care. Nobody cares. Again, Deshaun Watson, really, he can find a team. Anybody can find a team. But the talent level is high enough. Maybe not now, because like I said, he hasn't really shown the past talent of the past Deshaun Watson, and he's been injury prone since he's come back. And of course, he got injured towards the end of the season for the Cleveland Browns, who were trying to make a run, possibly to the Super Bowl. Maybe they weren't good enough, but they were trying to make a run. But it all depends on how you present yourself for the organization and your talent level. Both of those go together. If you're a crappy quarterback, you can be Tim Tebow. You're not going to stay in the league. As you saw, eventually they let him go. And this guy was a Christian. All he did was kneel for his religion. Eventually, he got put out. No matter how nice and a good guy you are, if you don't have the talent to go with it, you're not going to stay in the league. Next on the docket, LeBron James. Get this off the screen. LeBron James, arguably one of the top basketball players ever lived. He's not my top player. Michael Jordan is my top player. LeBron James is number 2. There's nothing wrong with number 2. He's had a very successful career. One of the greatest longevity careers you can argue for in any sport. Longevity. When I think of longevity, I think of Kareem, of course, LeBron, Tom Brady. They had very long careers and accomplished a lot in that in those 20-year careers that they've had in their respective leagues. LeBron James has a legacy that's hard to live up to. I don't know if anybody in the current generation of players in the NBA is going to be able to live up to it. That's why I say he's number 2 to me. And it's arguable if you want to put him number 1 or number 5 or number 8 or whatever. That's fine. That's not the point I'm arguing right now. My point is, that's a lot of pressure for anybody to live up to, especially his son, Bronny James. LeBron has pretty much said he wants this dream of being able to play with his son in the NBA, which I think is remarkable if that actually could happen. But when that first was said, when that came out, I thought it was remarkable if he played based on his talent level. Based on his talent level, then you just show the strong genes that run in that family. If he's able to make it and his son able to make it. But now it just seems like if he gets on a team now, because right now he doesn't even look like he'll make it in any number in the draft at this point. And if he does make it, it's going to be because of nepotism. It'll be a nepotism hire. And I don't know how you can flex that. We have problems with people being hired just because they're the boss's son or aunt or uncle's son. Like, oh, you only got the job because your dad runs the business. People hate that in the real world. And I'm not sure how that's a flex, in the NBA world. That just tells me that you have a lot of power. Yes. That you can make an organization like the Los Angeles Lakers, who have a prestigious history, from Wilt Chamberlain, Magic, and Jerry West, and Kobe Bryant, of course. And you're able to carry that type of power to get them to try to draft Bronny James into the Lakers or wherever. If LeBron may get a trade somewhere where they may be able to draft Bronny, maybe he can get in the G League, and then somehow they can bring him up from there. But I'm not even sure why that's such a huge deal to be able to say you can flex nepotism to get your son on the team. Like I said, it would be brilliant if you can, because that hasn't happened. A father-son duo that many times in sports. The first one that comes to my mind, if there's any other ones, then y'all please let me know and comment. Ken Griffey Jr. and his dad, they played at the same time in baseball. I don't know if there's any other sport that's had a father-son duo. I couldn't think of one besides coaches and basketball players like Doc Rivers and his son. They played. Well, he played on his dad's team with the Clippers, and that's brilliant in itself. And that you could say that's a nepotism hire. But his son was actually a decent player. He was a decent player at Duke. It's hard for me to say it because I hate Duke. But I gotta give the man his props. He was a decent player. So I think he at least deserved to be on the team, but I'm sure Doc had some pull to get him on that team. Bronny James doesn't seem like he's on that same level yet. I know he's a freshman, and I don't know if he's going to get good enough to be able to be on that level, even Doc Rivers' son. And the thing that bothers me is, how somebody wants to lose weight, and they do all these workouts. They jog for 4 miles a day, they lift weights, but then they want to eat chocolate cake after every workout and eat a bucket of chicken and just eat horribly. And then they get mad that they don't lose the weight. I don't understand why I'm not losing the weight. I'm doing all these workouts, but I should be able to lose the weight. Well, you can't eat horribly and then work out and expect to lose weight. You can't have it both ways. And what I mean by this tweet by LeBron James. Pop it up here. Earlier last year, March 6th of 2023, man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Shit lightweight, hilarious. And now that, Bronny has been getting criticism for his low numbers on the team, can y'all just let the kid be a kid and enjoy college basketball? The work and results will ultimately do the talking no matter what he decides to do. If y'all don't know, he doesn't care what a mock draft says. He just works, earned, not given. Earned, not given. If he gets on a team and he can't even make the mock draft, is it really earned or is it given? That's what nepotism is. Somebody gets on a team based on what a family member, or gets at a job based on what a family member can do for them. Again, I know it happens throughout the world, but people don't like it though. When you block someone else from getting a position that they worked hard for or they went to school for and they're more qualified for, you may have been in that position. I know I have. I don't like it. Now, if you're hiring for your own family business, that's one thing. If you own a team, like the Buss family with the Lakers, I can see that. and you pass it on to your daughter after training them to be good for the ownership. I can see that. But an NBA team where it's hard as hell to get on, I don't even know what the percentage is out of the population of America. Then you have to get the population of people overseas that get into the NBA. It's hard. It's rare for anybody to get on a team. And for your son to get on a team based off because he knows you doesn't please anybody. So I don't know what kind of flex that is, but good luck to the young man. I'm glad he is, as a father, supporting his son. There's nothing wrong with that. So the only other thing I will think about on this is it really that important when it's sad to see that his son had a cardiac arrest episode last year? And I don't know how much of a danger is that to happen again, but that would have been enough for me, especially when you don't have to fight to get in the NBA. You are generationally set up for your life, your kid's life, and your kid's life based on what your father did. Your father can give you a job at the many businesses that he has now and he's about to have soon. Because he's a billionaire, if I'm not mistaken. If he isn't, he'll be there soon, and he'll probably even make those numbers go up in the next few years. You're set up. Your life is not worth having to risk it to go fulfill a dream of just playing with your father for what would probably be maybe a year. LeBron will probably retire after that just to meet that quota. I don't think it's worth it. But again, that's his family. I'm just making my opinion heard about it. So I hope it happens. I don't want to poop on the guy's dream or whatever, but I hope it happens because he's good enough. You know what I'm saying? Not because his dad got him the job, because he's good enough. He doesn't have to be his dad. He don't have to be an all-star. Just be a decent player to get on the team. But if he gets on the team based on what he's doing now, nepotism hire. I can't see anything to flex about with that. But for the next story and the last one I'm going to speak on, then I'm going to hang up on this one. The No Bulls tour. This here, or just when you think they're done talking about this Last Dance documentary, people forget this is 2024. Do you realize that it was 4 years ago almost? It was, I think, in the summertime or May of 2020. This is 2024. And they're still talking about this. Oh, talking about holding a grudge. Luc Longley, which Jordan actually did like a interview about him. He spoke glowingly about him. And I think he said he felt sorry that he didn't get a lot time to speak on Luc Longley. I don't think Luc Longley was able to comment on The Last Dance. I don't know if he had prior engagement, he was busy or whatever, but he wasn't on there as far as I remember. And I hope that he does not have anything horrible to say, because he is entirely lucky that he even got to enjoy that ride, let alone The Last Dance, with arguably the greatest player of all time, my greatest player of all time, in my opinion. Yes, he was an important cog to the machine. Every player on that team was an important cog, an important gear that kept that machine going. And Jordan has stated that in The Last Dance. I don't know why people have tunnel vision and like they didn't hear that. Michael Jordan just said, "I won by myself." Nowhere in that documentary did Michael Jordan ever say, "I won by myself. I won without my teammates. I had to drag my teammates." You will not find it. You won't find it. I think that documentary had like 10 parts. You won't find Michael Jordan at any time say his teammates were garbage. They weren't worth the cloth that they wore to the games. To take off my shoes, you're not worthy of playing with me. Sit on the bench, let me do it on my own. You never heard it. Hell, 97, I can remember watching the 97 finals. Jordan, when they won the fifth championship, he said, I couldn't have done this without Scottie. This half of this MVP, I'm paraphrasing, half of this MVP should go to Scottie Pippen because he deserves just as much as I do. Then he joked, he said, I'll take the trophy, you take the car home. They used to give you a car when you won MVP. I don't think they do it anymore because they earned less money back then. You know, not that Michael Jordan was poor, but I can see more of a reason to give a player a car back then than you could now because the salaries have gone up. Boy, inflation is crazy. It's working for the NBA players because the pay for them has gone up extremely high compared to when Michael Jordan was there. Michael Jordan was getting $30 million per season, the last 3 seasons, I believe, or last 2 seasons. Now that doesn't even touch today's salary for NFL NBA players. They're not even close to his level of greatness. But my point is, he always complimented Scottie Pippen as being the best sidekick or the best player. You don't even have to say sidekick, the best player he would ever play with, and he wouldn't win any of these championships without Pippen. He said that. Even the pundits that always go and say, well, LeBron has won with other people, fine, that's great. And they'll say, well, Jordan never won without Pippen. Well, even Jordan has said that. So what are you arguing? Jordan has even said that. So I don't understand why people even say, well, Pippen never got his due. He's even saying the argument that you put to make LeBron bigger than Jordan. So I don't get it. Which tells me there was always jealousy the whole time when Pippen was there. He just hid it very well. Horace Grant, I'm probably more interested to hear what he has to say. And if you go look, I don't know if you can look, I'll put the picture back up. Let's see if we can see it. If you look at the picture, what shoes does Horace Grant have on? He has on Jordans. I don't know what year those Jordans are, but he has on Jordan. So he better not say anything bad, because how are you going to wear the shoes of the enemy if he is your enemy? You know, that'd be like me wearing a Nazi symbol on my arm and a Hitler mustache and then singing his praises on TV. But then also saying hateful things about him. It doesn't make any sense. You can't have it both ways. Here we go again. Can't have it both ways, right? You can't wear the man's shoes and talk bad about him. But he said, The Last Dance was some BS. So I can imagine it's going to be a heartwarming, no bull tour where he's going to say a bunch of great things about Jordan. I feel like he's going to say some things about him allegedly leaking some information to some reporters about the insides of the locker room, what was going on during the championship years and before with Jordan, how he handled teammates and coaches and the media and stuff like that, and him himself, because there was a rumor where he played like dog crap one day or a few nights, and that Jordan would take his dinner away, and Horace didn't respond. He just let Jordan take his dinner away, and that kind of made Horace, I guess, look like a punk. Now, nobody's going to argue that Michael Jordan was not always nice. Even himself has said that he wasn't always nice because he wanted to win so badly. But Horace, I feel, probably feels like he came off looking like a punk. And so he's going to respond and give his take now. But he's also lucky. It's a privilege, I would think, to be on a team like you're doing something that the majority of the population can't do. And you played at the highest level and you won at the highest level, and you're still complaining. All this does to me, I think, for the newer generation, is say, get the money, get the championships. I feel like, we saw the All-Star game and how horrible that was. Nobody cares. I don't think cares about legacy. I think it's going to get there where nobody's going to care about legacy. I think the ring argument is going to start to dissipate after a while. And you know why it's going to do that? I think it's going to be because LeBron. LeBron has 4 championships, 6 losses. A lot of people will harp on those 6 losses. And his argument sometimes, he hasn't said it, but not directly. Longevity and playing at a high level will be his argument for the claim of GOAT status. And I think that's going to be a lot of people's argument, is longevity and playing at a high level instead of championships. I think that's what's going to end up happening. And then when you see how Horace, Scottie, Luc, and maybe other disgruntled teammates have responded to Last Dance and what they had to go through by being teammates of Michael, even though they won 3 championships or 6 together, depending on who was there the longest. Winning all those championships does not seem like it has brought any of these people happiness. Pippen has 6 championships. 6. And it still has left him feeling destitute as a person and a player, it feels like. Hasn't made them happy. This money doesn't buy happiness, and neither does championships with arguably the greatest player of all time. So, Pippen, I don't know what more he's going to say, more outrageous that he hasn't already said. I think the most outrageous thing I think he has said was when Jordan, I think it was the 97 finals, Jordan passed the ball to Steve Kerr for the game winner, and he said it was staged. He said, look at the cameras, the way the cameras were there. He staged that for the cameras. Like they already knew what they were going to do. Almost like it was an act. Like they had the script ready for that scene to happen. And Steve Kerr and I've got the other player that doubled Jordan around then. John Stockton and somebody else doubled Jordan and he passed to Kerr. Like they were in on it. What it felt like he was trying to say. It was a scripted play. And I mean, cameras are always on Michael. They always had behind the scenes with Michael and other players. So I'm not sure what he was getting at with that, but there's always cameras behind the scenes, especially with Jordan back then being in 1997, him arguably being the most popular person, not NBA player, person in the world. The only person that probably could rival that was probably Michael Jackson. Of course, Jesus. They forget him. So I don't know what more outrageous things that Scottie Pippen had. Scottie Pippen has lost a lot in these last few years. His ex-wife, lost his son. His identity seems to be gone. He seems to be searching for a new one. I thought him and Jordan were like brothers. Looking at them in the past, how he used to talk about him glowingly and how Jordan used to talk about him glowingly, whatever. I thought they were like brothers, and brothers fight. But brothers don't do this. If you really love your brother, you don't come out and say things like this about your brother. But apparently Pippen was so hurt by these comments, which I don't know what comment was hurtful besides the truth. He did get injured. He did take his time coming back from surgery and his injury because he was in dispute for more money. And of course the owners wanted to trade him, and that wasn't that wasn't a good narrative to tell for them. I understand that he was grossly underpaid. I will agree with that. He didn't come into the game with 1.8 seconds in the 94 playoffs where Kukoc ended up hitting the game winner. He did set out to play. There was no lie there. I can't recall seeing that happen at any time in the playoffs where a star player refused to come back in to be a decoy. I mean, wasn't Steve Kerr a decoy in the 97 finals? I'm sorry, let me take that back. Steve Kerr, Jordan was the decoy, and they doubled him to leave Steve Kerr wide open. Pippen was going to be the decoy. Look at him, and then they give the ball to Tony Kukoc. And of course, Jordan took more game winners than almost anybody, but he was willing to give up the ball at certain times. So, and Pippen was the leader in the 94 season because Jordan had retired. Why could he not be a decoy for this play? Be a team player and Kukoc end up hitting the game winner anyway. And nobody was happy about that. Nobody could really celebrate after that game winner because the elephant in the room was Pippen didn't want to pass the ball to Kukoc. Pippen didn't want to listen to Phil Jackson. So I don't know. I'm going to listen to see what kind of grudge is going to come out of this No Bull tour. But I have a feeling it's going to do more damage to Pippen's legacy more than Jordan's legacy. That's my time. This has been The Last Rewind. If you got any comments, please leave them at the bottom and hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you on the next story for The Last Rewind. Peace.